If you want to know what takes an ordinary business into a powerful, effective brand, then be sure to keep watching. So you might be wondering, why are brand strategies important and are they even necessary? Well, I used to ask myself that same question, and to be really honest with you guys, when I started freelance designing like 5 or 6 years ago, I did not have this part of my process, and I do regret it looking back. I feel like having a brand strategy and all of the pieces that make up a brand is so important to make a brand last a long time and really give it that timeless effect. But that's not the only reason, and in this video I want to share with you all the reasons why a brand strategy is so important. So I'm going to give you the why and the how to create a brand strategy. So in this video I'll be showing you a real life client example of me putting together the strategy and the things that I like to include in this portion of the process. So to summarize it real quick, a brand strategy is basically the part of the process where I like to make sure I'm on the right visual path with my client. But not only that, I want to make sure I understand the soul of the business. So I want to know their mission statement, the 3 values that they live by. I want to know the target market, and I want to know the overarching reason why they are doing their business. Like, I want to know what made them want to be in this business or in this industry. Take all of those answers and put it into this strategy and have the passion behind the business really at the forefront of making the brand effective, and also making it so the client wants to use the materials I'm giving them because they do have that passion behind it. So I really like to take all those moving pieces, put it together in this part of the process, and the reason it's so helpful is because they can use that to show up consistently everywhere that their business shows up. So the strategy not only covers the visual side of things, but also covers their overall voice and how they're showing up through text online, or even just how they're showing up with like certain stylistic choices. All those things that make a brand really cohesive is what I am really paying attention to in this first phase of the process. But a few videos ago, probably like 4 months ago, I showed you guys my full brand process in this series. I'll link it up above if you want to see everything and kind of how my process continues to change all the time. I really like to adjust it and add things that I realize that maybe I should add in the future. So if you have seen previous videos of mine, this could look possibly a little bit different, but I do feel that as my pricing increases, the value of what I'm providing really needs to be all there. And one of the selling points in my brand guidelines is that I want the brand guide to be timeless. And like I said, I want it to last a really long time. So having the strategy portion a little more beefed up really makes sure that I'm giving them something that they can use for a very long time, and something that they'll actually utilize when they are confused on how to show up. I also like to tell my clients that having the strategy and all the phases of my brand guideline is helpful if they do decide to hire people in the future or have some like contracted workers, because they can give them this guideline and everyone on the team can be on the same page, and just really creates that consistency and cohesiveness all around. But enough talking, I want to show you guys me putting together an actual brand strategy. So I'm going to move over to my screen. I'll do a little recording of how I'm putting it together and the things I'm keeping in mind when I'm doing this. So if you're wondering how long this portion of the process takes me, usually I give myself 3 to 4 days. I know that doesn't sound like that many days, but I like to really kind of sit on the strategy, make sure I like what I chose, step away from the color palette, step away from the mood board, just overall make sure that everything flows together. So usually 3 days, and I like to give my clients another 3 to 4 days to give me some feedback. So this portion does take a good amount of time. I like to make sure that I have everything set in place before I go and design logos, because as we know, the logo portion can be a little timely as well, but having this part figured out and having you both on the same page will save you a lot of time in the future. With that said, let's hop on over to my screen. Okay, to start off the brand strategy, I am just working on the mood board, and you guys might notice that I am designing the mood board on Canva. This is something that I started implementing later this year just because I have so many projects, so many clients, and I wanted a really simple way for me to just drag pictures in to visually see it. And don't worry, I do design all the logos, everything else on Adobe Illustrator, but just for this initial phase of the strategy, it really helps to have an efficient, quicker process. So what I'm doing is I'm just looking for pictures that not only were in her Pinterest board, but also that I feel fit within the overall kind of brand aesthetic that I'm going for. So you'll see me searching like edgy branding. You'll see me searching for like iced coffee. So the initial questionnaire that I have my clients fill out basically asks them to describe their overall style, what they're drawn to, and just like what sets them apart in their business from other like quote unquote competitors. And that's where I'm able to kind of get the answers to like the overall aesthetics of what we're kind of working towards. So that's what the strategy phase really entails, is like making sure I have the imagery, the textures, the fonts, the colors, everything all sorted out. And that also kind of helps the client know that like I understand their vibe. So I actually really enjoy this phase. I find it really fun. So you'll see me doing that. I usually look for a clothing picture, like some sort of apparel picture, a texture picture, something that fits their personality, maybe a photography inspiration picture for like a new photo shoot. And I also like to include some like branding inspiration too. So that's what I'll be doing in this first initial part, is just building out that mood board. And then I will come right back to talk with you guys about the other stages of the strategy. Okay, so I just wanted to come in here and talk about the next stages. So after the mood board, then I like to dive into the brand values. So you'll see me typing here a lot. But the values basically just go over like the three, I only use 3 values, but those are like the most important things that this brand is going to live by. So for this particular brand, I found that she uses empowerment a lot in her verbiage, and adaptability, and also creativity. So those are kind of the 3 values that I feel her brand can like live by and remember, and like if she decides to hire people, she can kind of share that with them too. Like those are the important things. That is what I want to portray in a lot of my text and stuff. So that was what I was working on in this phase. It kind of took me a little longer because I was inspired to write. So that's what I was doing here. And then we'll jump into the next part. Now this part will probably look very new to a lot of you that have been following me, but it looks a little different there because on the Canva thing, because I duplicated the template I used for one of my previous clients because I really liked providing the overall design direction, not just in the mood board, but also in a text version. So that's what I'm doing right now is I'm just like narrowing it down to 3 design directions that they can pay attention to. So the first one I'm looking for is some sort of like tattoo patchwork illustration, because that's something that we kind of like strategize together. I think that'll look really awesome for like graphics on our social media and just overall like have some elements to use on like her website and stuff. So I really love the idea of like a black ink kind of like simple illustration. So I'm adding this to a board that I created in my Pinterest. And I absolutely love this. I think it's going to be so fun to put together. I think it's going to just bring it all together and give it that like creative individuality look to it, like craftsmanship, stuff like that. So that's kind of like the description I was giving in those 3 design directions that we're going to be paying attention to. So that's what I'm doing right here is I'm just adding those 3 and kind of just explaining like why I think those are going to work well. It's something that they should use throughout a lot of their branding. So that's what I'll be working on this page, is just describing everything. So I know Canva, it seems like something like a no-no for designers, but trust me, like when I have a lot of clients and projects, it's so much easier to just plug everything in this way. And since I'm not doing the logos yet, it works really well. So I'm just adding in those other options here, so edgy photography, and we're gonna also find a font picture like that. So I will continue working on this part. Okay, so now I'm doing a bit of a font search. I love this guy's fonts, Taylor Penton. I think that's the name of the website, but yeah, his fonts are amazing, and that's actually one that she included on her Pinterest board. So I am just screenshotting an idea of this font, and I'm going to bring it over to Canva and just remove the background of it so we can kind of see an example of how that can look with her brand colors. Worked out perfect because one of her brand colors is black, so that was really nice. I didn't have to like, do some sort of like photoshopping and stuff. So I'm just using this part in this page to show color and font examples. These aren't fonts that we have to be set on, and that's something I mentioned to them, but just an idea to see icons and fonts in those color versions. So playing around with that. I've never actually designed this page out, so you'll see me kind of like making it on a whim here. But yeah, I'm decided to just do like squares because the other ones weren't working very well. And I also want to show her, like, I'm going to find like an example icon and how that can look in the fonts and stuff. So I'm adding that here, and I just think that having a page like this can really help visually understand like how those colors work, especially because for this brand I have a yellow color, like a mustard yellow, and that can be really different for a lot of people. But I actually already got feedback from her and she like loves the yellow, so I'm super pumped about that. But yeah, it's different for sure. So you'll see me kind of playing around with like what that even looks good with, and that's why I like this page, because it allows me to kind of understand what the yellow can be used for. And that's what I'll include in my brand guideline at the end too, is like tips on like where to use the colors and how. So that's what I'm going to work on for this page, is just showing those examples, showing an example of text, and then we'll move on to the mission statement. Alright guys, I wanted to give you a little bit of a peek into the brand strategy phase and how I deliver this over. So the initial page, I really like to pick a photo that kind of flows with their branding. This is actually one of my photos I took, and I feel like it fits with their branding. I think that's why this branding is flowing with me so well, because I understand it on a deeper level. But here's the final mood board. We have that here. I love how everything came together. I think the colors fit and flow so well with it. And then we also have examples of the patchwork drawings, some photography examples. This is the kind of outfit she said she wears, just basic white tee, jeans. So we fit everything in here, and I love that. Then we have the color page that just explains how to use them. This is the color and font example page and how that can all look together. Design direction phase, so I go into explaining every single direction that I think can work for them. The values, mission statement is something I also like to provide, and we actually really love this word igniting. I think we're going to play into that through using matches, illustrations of little fire or something like that. Next steps. So that is pretty much everything I provide in this initial phase. Like I said, it takes me around 3 to 4 days, and for her it took around, I would say, the 3-day mark. So there you have it. That is the why and the how of brand strategies. I really hope that it was interesting to see how I put it together and why I like to provide this to my clients. One of the biggest things that I hope you can take away from this video is that a brand is not just a logo or a slogan. It really is the strategy, which is the soul and the heart and soul of the brand. It's really important to take your time developing it, nourishing it, and making sure that you and the client feel that this is aligned perfectly with who the client is, who the target market is, and everything above. I really hope you found this video helpful. If you did, I'd appreciate it so much if you gave it a thumbs up and subscribe down below. I would appreciate that so much if you stuck around. I post every Monday and Wednesday, and I'd love to see you in more videos. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in my next one.